there's brave and then there's stupid, and I'm amazed at it. But of course, the thing is, these people aren't expecting to see this, so they're shocked. And of course, when you're shocked and stunned, there is that moment before you can react, because you're just paralyzed with, like, what the heck is this? What am I looking at? You know, and then maybe your mind begins to work again. You think, I got to get out of here. You know. So, but yeah, I absolutely would not recommend hanging around if you saw one of these things, especially if they seem to eat German shepherds or cattle or whatever. I mean, and who knows about people, as we were talking about. We just don't know. And when you don't know something, I'm not going to go swimming in a lake in England because there might be eels in it. I'm just not going to do that. I don't want to run into eels, and the water may look placid and fine, but I'm not going to do it. I just think you should err on the side of caution. Get out of there. That fact that woman ran into this twice, saw this twice on her lonely trip in the middle of the night, driving to town in Texas, amazes me. She has guts like I don't believe, because if I had seen it once, I wouldn't be doing it again. I'm sorry, I would not. Would you?
Well, if it's the only job you have, and from Bronco, Texas, from what I hear, there's not much employment in that area. Now, I just got a message from a lady named Misty through Messenger. She goes, why hasn't anybody got a picture of Mothman? I'm going to tell you, Misty, my experience, okay? If you see something, I don't care, UFO, cryptic, alien, or something darn right ugly, your mind takes a second to react. You're not going to think, oh, I'm going to grab my camera and take a picture. You don't think about that. I'm sorry. I don't know many people it could. Do you, Rob?
Well, actually, no. I mean, if I saw something standing in the middle of the road and I'm slamming on my brakes, the last thing I'm worried about is taking a picture. However, there are lots of, well, not lots, but there are a number of pictures of the Mothman. There are images of it hanging off the Silver Bridge. There are images of something around the Twin Towers. There's images of it in around the skyscrapers in Chicago. There are images of it on some kind of power line on some rural road. And so, yes, there are actual photos of it. Now, are these photos faked? Well, some could be, and some don't look as if they're faked. I've looked at most of them. And but there's a photo by an anonymous man driving on Route 2, seen near Point Pleasant. I mean, so there are photos of it. It's not as if we don't have photos. And of course, remember, some of these photos were taken back in the 60s and 70s, when we didn't even have computers, let alone Photoshop. So they probably weren't faked.
No, back in the film day, it was really hard taking negatives and sandwiching them together to make a fake picture. Not like Photoshop, where you can just sit there and drag, click, and put in. I mean, so when you start looking at these pictures of the, 60s and 70s and 80s before digital, even Photoshop came out in the 89, 90, right around there, the first version. I tell you that, I think it'd be really hard to fake it. I mean, seriously, when you look at these ghost pictures, for example, Rob, where a couple is sitting on a couch, like in 1890, for example, and there's a ghost coming down the stairs. Well, hey, I've been in photography as much as I have been in broadcasting. And I'm not authority in photography, but I can tell you, I shot for some major magazines through my lifetime with my photography. I can tell you that they were, how can you say, a double exposure. And it was easy to do back then with the type cameras they had. So that would be, oh, there's that ghost. That's easy back then. But to take and put a Mothman in a picture like over a bridge or this other type of stuff, I mean, you can tell right away. Even like with those ghost pictures, you can tell what was done. It was a double exposure. I mean, so I really feel that, yeah, some of these pictures of these cryptics could be real. Then on the other hand, there's a lot of them that are naturally people wanting their 5 minutes of fame, coming out with a picture that they photoshopped.
that's the problem with in this day and age is, and it always has been a problem. The fairies at the bottom of the garden in England back in the early turn of the century turned out, they thought it was really photographs by two young girls who took the pictures, and they swore it was, and this went on for years. And even Sir Arthur Conan Doyle and Harry Houdini of very famous people went and interviewed the kids and believed the kids were telling the truth. I'm not sure about Harry Houdini, but Sir Arthur Conan Doyle did. And then, of course, on her deathbed, the one sister said that, no, they had faked the pictures. So, and actually I saw the photos, and they did look a little fakey. They just looked just too perfectly like paper cutouts. So, but yes, double exposures are fairly easy to spot. You can discount those pretty well. I actually have seen photos of something that looked like ghosts that were not faked, because I know the person who took them, when they took them, and how they took them. And that was at a place in Casadega, Florida. And it was amazing. It was all these people on a veranda, and they looked like they were from the 1800s or early 1900s, women with their hairs in a bun and men with handlebar mustaches. Very vague and blurry. It was almost like it was chaotic, but you could clearly see these faces of people on this veranda, and yet there was no one on the veranda when the picture was taken. I know that as an absolute fact. There was also a figure of a person up on the roof of the building by a street light, which was shining right above it, and the person was wearing a jacket, sitting sideways. You could clearly see it, and yet there was no person there. I would swear on my life that there was no person there when that picture was taken. So, yes, there's a lot of hoaxes out there, but I think there's also true photographs as well.
Oh, there is. James, right, who's with us right now, he took a picture back, I think, about 2 years ago or 2.5 years ago. Wasn't it in the cemetery and a ghost behind a tree or something?
Yeah, matter of fact, that was 2018, October 10th at 10:30 at night in Medina, Ohio Cemetery. Yeah, actually, I used that picture as the cover for one of my paranormal groups. But yeah, I had seen this spirit. He was like ducking in, like Bigfoot does, side to side from a tree. And I just asked him, hey, can I take your picture? And he walked out, stood there. I couldn't believe it, took the picture. But even at that, I've took several pictures of spirits, and usually sometimes they just don't show up. But to my amazement, it was bam, right there. I was blown away by it. And that's probably the best picture of a spirit. It is the best picture of a spirit I've ever caught.
Thank you, James.
I'm amazed that you could take that picture and sound so blasé about it. I think if I saw a ghost in front of me like that, I'm not sure what I'd do, but I'm not sure I'd think about the camera, to be honest with you.
Let me say
I love to research this stuff, but it's like researching nuclear physics. You may want to research the subject of it and learn more about it, but you don't want to die of radiation poisoning in the process.
Well, I've been seeing spirits since age 3, so I'm like numb to them.
Wow.
That's why.
Wow. So
yeah.
You think you have a talent for this?
I don't know what you might call it, but I've seen them. I see them all the time. But it's been like that all my life. I don't know. People say they like to put categories and titles on you. I don't know what it is. I just learned to deal with it.
Now, James is special. I have this thing about on my show. I don't bring mediums on my show very often because I've been burnt. I've been doing this since 1976, and I would say 99.9% of the psychics and mediums I have had on my show, honestly, I wouldn't rely on anything they said as much as a $7 bill.
I agree with you.
I have to agree with my experience, too.
James is weird. I can honestly tell you, I will talk to James quite often, because he's part of the show. And I come up with something, and, at the same time I'm coming up with something, he's come up with it. It's like he thinks of something, I get the message, or if I think about something, he seems to get the message. And I've never in my entire life have connected with somebody like this. It's really eerie. It is. It bugs me.
I like to scare people sometimes.
Well, you do, but do I ever scare you? Because all of a sudden I'll start talking, and I was just thinking about that, and then you go on to what I was thinking, and then or it's reverse. You start telling me something, and I already know exactly what you were thought of. It's just weird.
It is weird. You scare me all the time. I always say you're the most psychic person I know. You scare me more than anybody.
I don't know. Maybe I've been doing this show too long. Now, hey Rob, our time is almost up. Can you hang on for another, like, after the break here in a couple minutes? Can you hang on for like another 15, 20 minutes? Or
Sure.
That's great. So if you have any psychic questions for $9.95, James will answer them for you. I don't know.
No, free. I do for free.
Well, again, okay, is a Mothman a curse, and what is the connection with Mothman? What is really going on? There has to be some reason why people are seeing him. That's the part I don't understand.
I think it's a real phenomenon. I think it either is a demon, which I'm not too inclined to believe, or it's something that we've always thought of as a demon. So I think it's otherworldly. Let me put it that way. I think it's otherworldly. It's either not of our dimension completely, or like maybe the shadow people, or it is something from another planet. I have to be honest with you. If I had seen what James had seen, the next spirit I would have seen would have been a bottle of vodka. I'm not kidding. I mean, when you see dead people walking, I don't know how. I have to ask James, how did you react to that?
I'm used to it. But listen, that's nothing. Listen, I want to tell you something. I've faced real evil incarnate before to evict them from houses. I had one last year that looked identical to the face of Jeepers Creepers in a crawl space in an attic. And I'm on all fours, and I could feel it to my left. I turned to look at it, and it looked right at me, dead in the eyes of death, 3 feet away, and it bum rushed me. And this thing looked just like Jeepers Creepers. I mean, the most evilest thing. And it knocked me right off my all fours, knocked me right over, and went right out the crawl space. And the wife was standing out there, and she didn't see it, but she felt it, and she was like, "What was that?" And I was all just a draft. You know, I didn't want to scare her any worse, but the stuff I've seen is awful.
Okay, we need to go on break. We'll be back in 2 minutes. You're listening to Night Dreams Talk Radio. We got Rob on. We're talking about, Mothman.
He had an old lady named Petula who packed an automatic 45 gun. They had just come up from California where they'd shot 6 cops for fun. Chicks who thought it was the best there was down the interstate he saw, till the day he tangled with the county sheriff, who they all call 104. It was late on a Thursday evening, and Jake, he was feeling kind of mean, cause he just run out of his favorite drug, you know, the one called amphetamine. So we started up to Petula, and it said, "Say, baby, let's split. There's a little gas station on down the road that might be fun to hit." So they drove up to the station, and they both jumped off of Jake's ride. They were up to derision at Jake's decision as they both saw to the inside. The attendant, he was an old man, and you know we didn't think it very funny. When Petula pulled out that great big gun, said, "Honey, give me all your money." Well, the old man opened up the cash drawer, and Jake grabbed the money and ran. With Petula out the door to the big chopped Hollow that was parked on the center kickstand. Then they headed out for the 4-lane, and they thought it was lots of fun. With Jake on his hog, with Petula the dog, with the automatic 45 gun. Jake, he thought it was the best there was down the interstate he saw, till the day he tangled with the county sheriff, who they all call 104.
You're listening to Night Dreams Talk Radio After Dark with our host, Gary Anderson.
And that is me. A big shout out to Metatron Power and Light. They're going to be going out tomorrow up and down the corridor of I-5 to the truck stops, handing out some of their albums, of their latest album. And they're also going to be telling people, well, they need to listen to Night Dreams Talk Radio After Dark. Again, a big shout out to them. You can find their music where you can buy it on our website at nightdreamstalkradio.com. We got a great guest. I can tell you every time Rob is on our show, I tell you what, the numbers just go up drastically. That says something. Because some guests, you get on the air and you wonder why you're even there talking. Because the next morning you go on the internet and you look on your server and you find out, oh, gee, I could have stayed and watched TV. But no, when Rob is on, the numbers go crazy. Again, I hear